Hello dear students, welcome back to online biology bridge course classes, and in this video I am explaining about the study of lichens and mycoplasma. In the previous videos I explained about the 5 kingdom classification system proposed by R.H. Whitaker. He classified all the organisms into 5 kingdoms: Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Mycota, Kingdom Plantae and Kingdom Animalia. Monera includes all the bacteria. Protista includes the different organisms such as slime molds, protozoans, the dinoflagellates. All these variety of organisms are included in the Protista, including euglenoids. Mycota includes only fungi, and in the plants, algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms are included, and kingdom Animalia includes all the animals, vertebrates as well as invertebrates. Vertebrates are having backbone, invertebrates are without backbone. So this is about the brief information about the 5 kingdom classification proposed by Whitaker. But in these 5 kingdoms, the lichens are not included. What are lichens and how they are developed? What is their ecological importance? So that means how they are important with respect to environment, and about mycoplasma I am going to explain in today's video. So lichens, what are lichens? Lichens are the symbiotic association between algae and fungi. Lichens are called composite plants. The very common term which is used for lichens is they are called composite plants, because the lichen is not a single plant. It is produced by symbiotic association between two different groups of plants like algae and fungi. Both of them are two different organisms, but they are united with each other, and they gives rise to the formation of another composite. Composite because combined or the mixed. Meaning of composite is mixed or combined. The algae and fungi are combined with each other, and they resulted in the formation of a composite group of the plant or organism called lichens. In Kannada, lichens are called kallu hoovu. It is very common ingredient used as spice. So along with other spice components such as black pepper, clove, cardamom, cinnamon, the lichens are also used as spices. Even in every house the lichens are present. In Kannada, that's what I told. They are called kallu hoovu. The reason is that they are growing on the rock. They are growing, they are pioneers. That means first formed organisms on the rock. Hence they are called the kallu hoovu because of different colors. The one term here is symbiotic association. That means in the lichen, algae is benefited from fungi and fungi is also benefited from algae. Both of them are benefited from each other. Such a type of association is called symbiotic association. Both of them are benefited, mutually benefited from each other. When algae and fungi combine with each other with mutual benefits, It results in the development of a composite plant called lichen. In the lichen, algal component, the algae which is present in the lichen is called phycobiont. Why it is called phycobiont? Because phycology, the branch which deals with the study of algae, with reference to that, algal component is called phycobiont and fungal component is called mycobiont. Mycology is study of the fungi. So algae and fungi, both of them are present in the lichens. Algal component of the lichen is called phycobiont and fungal component of the lichen is called mycobiont. Another interesting fact is, in the lichen, algal component is autotrophic. I used this term in the explanation of kingdom Plantae, autotrophic. That means they are able to synthesize their own food due to the presence of chlorophyll. Algae are autotrophic in nature, whereas fungi are heterotrophic in nature. But both of them are present together in the lichens. Algae is able to prepare the food, but fungi is unable to prepare the food because all the fungi are without chlorophyll. They are non-green plants. As the chlorophyll is absent in the fungi, they are called non-green plants. Then question is, how both of them are benefited from each other? Because symbiotic association means they are mutually benefited from each other. Algae is getting benefit from the fungi and fungi is getting benefit from the algae. But here algae is able to synthesize its own food. Then in what way fungi is helping the algae? For that question, here is the answer. Algae prepares the food for fungi and in turn fungi provides shelter. It absorbs the mineral nutrients and water for the algae. So minerals from the soil or the place where it is growing. The minerals which are present in the surrounding environment, particularly phosphorus. The phosphorus is absorbed by fungi and that mineral element is supplied to the algae. Along with the mineral element, even water is also absorbed by the fungi. So fungi supplies water, fungi supplies mineral nutrients, fungi provides shelter, space. So three benefits are given by fungi to the algae or provided by fungi to the algae. Algae in turn it is providing or it is supplying food to the fungi. So both of them are benefited from each other. That is why the association is called symbiotic association. Then the very important point till the completion of competitive exam, this is very important. Lichens are very good pollution indicators. If any area is rich in the air pollution, particularly with reference to sulfur dioxide, any particular environment, if it is highly polluted with the sulfur dioxide content in the atmosphere, in such area the lichens do not grow. The complete growth of the lichens is absent. That is why the lichens are called the indicators of air pollution. So lichens are indicators of air pollution. They do not grow in polluted areas, particularly any area rich in sulfur dioxide. These are the few things that you need to remember with respect to lichens. Lichens are the composite organisms. They are produced by association between algae and fungi, and in the lichen, algae and fungi are showing symbiotic association. The algal component of the lichen is called phycobiont and the Fungal component of lichen is called mycobiont. Algae is autotrophic in nature, fungi is heterotropic in nature. Algae provides food to the fungi and in turn fungi provides shelter. It absorbs the water and mineral nutrients. All these are supplied to the algae so that both of them are mutually benefited from each other, indicating the symbiotic association. And lichens are called indicators of air pollution. They do not grow in any area with the air pollution, particularly it is very sensitive. Lichens are very much sensitive to the sulfur dioxide. So this is about lichen. Like that, very brief information about one more small organism. It is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma are known as pleuropneumonia-like organisms, PPLO. Pleuropneumonia, the organism which causes the pneumonia. Nowadays these terms have become very common. Even every person is familiar with the terms pneumonia. Pneumonia is nothing but a respiratory disorder. It is the infection of lungs. And pleuropneumonia like organism, the pneumonia causing organism, structure is somewhat similar to that. Mycoplasma were previously known as PPLO, pleuropneumonia like organisms. These are the organisms that completely lack cell wall. They don't have cell wall around their structure. Any organism without cell wall, one example for any organism without cell wall is nothing but it is mycoplasma. And important point to remember is that mycoplasma are smallest living cells known so far. They are the smallest living cells identified so far, and they can survive without oxygen. Anaerobic condition. Anaerobic condition means even in the absence of oxygen, the mycoplasma are able to survive. And remember, the mycoplasma represents the smallest living cell so far identified. Mycoplasma are pathogenic in animals as well as in the plants. What it means? Mycoplasma are able to cause disease or able to infect both plants and animals. They cause the infection in both plants and animals. They are the smallest living cells known so far. They can survive or they are able to survive without oxygen. That means in the anaerobic condition, and they are completely without cell wall. Then one more information. Mycoplasma is a genus of bacteria that lack the cell wall around their cell membrane. That means mycoplasma are also considered as genus, means a type of bacteria. Even it is included in kingdom Monera only. And this character makes them naturally resistant to antibiotics. And they can be parasitic or saprophytic. What is this? Absence of cell wall is actual beneficial character for mycoplasma, because they cannot be killed by antibiotics. Here I would like to take one very well-known example of the antibiotics. It is penicillin. One chemical produced in the body of one organism, if it is used to kill or to control other disease causing organism, it is called antibiotic. Anti means opposite, bios means life, against the life. Any chemical produced naturally or synthesized in the body of one organism, if it is used to kill or to destroy other disease causing organism, it is called antibiotic. So absence of a cell wall around the mycoplasma, it is beneficial character because the absence of cell wall has made the mycoplasma resistant to the antibiotics. That means mycoplasma cannot be killed or destroyed by treating with any antibiotics due to the absence of cell wall. And one more point last here, they can be parasitic, completely dependent on other living organism, or they can be saprophytic. What is the meaning of saprophytic? If one organism gets its food from dead and decaying organic matter, dead and decaying organic matter, wherever the organic matter is decaying, from that decaying organic matter, if any organism is getting its food, it is called saprophytic. The one example, cow dung during rainy season and sorry, on wet pieces of the wood during rainy season, you can see the growth of mushroom or agaricus, which is a fungus, and it is also example for saprophytic. Saprophyte is organism which is dependent on another organism for the food, but it absorbs or it is taking the food from dead and decaying organic matter. Never it takes the food from living organism. If one organism is getting the food from another living organism, it is parasite, because it is taking the food from other living organism with complete dependency. But saprophytic is not like that. It gets its food from the dead and decaying organic matter, and such organisms are called saprophytes, and method of getting the food by the saprophytes is called saprophytic nutrition. So these are the two things that I wanted to explain in today's video. Hope the explanation is clear for you. Thank you.